Hello and welcome to another CG tip. With this video I want to share my process for mirroring joints and controls from one side of your rig to the other. Now before we begin, I have to state that there isn't any magic button or hidden menu item which will recreate the opposite side of a rig for you. Well, not unless you have a custom tool or a script to do it for you. What I will be sharing though are some tips and tricks to help speed up the process for you. So here we have a basic rig with just the left side built. We have the joints and all the controls, so we want to duplicate these to create the right side rather than build them all again from scratch. The first thing we need to do is work on the joints. It's important that we maintain the correct orientations when we create the right side, so let's display the rotational axes. To do this, we just need to go to Transform Display, Local Rotational Axes. So there we can see the orientation of the clavicle joint. We also need to see how the rest of the arm is looking. The problem is, because this is rigged, we have lots of other nodes nestled inside the joint hierarchy. So if we just used Select Hierarchy and then displayed all the rotational axes, we would be seeing them for all these other nodes too. Now we could go through and deselect these nodes manually, but there is a quicker way to do this using a small bit of script. All we're going to do is use this command here, and what this will do is it will search through all the children of the clavicle joint, and if it's a joint, select it. The first section is the main select command. Inside the brackets we need to tell it what to select. So here we have a second command, listRelatives. This is used to check for a node's parents or its children, so it's perfect for searching through a joint hierarchy. Because this is another command, we need to specify what it's doing in the brackets which follow. So here we are using the type flag to indicate what we need to look for, so in this case, joints. After that I'm using the AD flag, which tells the listRelatives command to search through all the selected joints descendants. Okay, so if I run that with the clavicle joint selected, it will search through all its descendants and select any which are joints. Just like that, nice and easy and quicker than manually selecting and deselecting things. Now we can show the local rotational axes, knowing we will only see the ones on the joints. Let's do the same with the leg now. So select the thigh, or the femur as it's called here, and run that again. This has selected all the joints beneath the femur, so make sure you also select the femur again. You could update the script so it simply adds to the current selection by using the add flag. And display those axes too. Okay, let's close these. We can see that Y is pointing down the bone, Z is forwards, and X is down. It's a similar setup with a leg. So to mirror these, all we need to do is go to Skeleton, Mirror Joints and open the options. We want to mirror the clavicle too, but it's important to have a parent joint. This acts as the reflection plane and where the mirrored joints will be parented to. We need mirror across to be set to YZ, so it goes from +X to -X. Mirror function needs to be set to behavior, and we want the tool to rename the joints for us too, so it will replace L underscore with R underscore in the joint names. Click apply and that's mirrored for us. You will see that the orientation is different. This time Y is pointing up the bone, Z is pointing backwards and X is pointing up. It may look different, but they are still on the same plane, just pointing in the opposite direction. This may seem wrong, but it's set up perfectly for us. Let's do the same with the leg next. To demonstrate why it's set up like this, I first need to go to Modify Evaluate Nodes and set this to Ignore All. This will simply disable all the rig controls temporarily so we can edit the joints directly. If I select the shoulder joints now and rotate around the Z axis, you will see they both move up and down, like they are mirrored. It's the same if we rotate the arms forwards and backwards, and also if we twist them. The same happens with the legs. They are mirrored, so what you do to one side is reflected on the other. For the animator, this is a great setup because they can animate both sides at the same time, saving them work in the long run. It's also easier to set up walk and run cycles with limbs like these. Okay, now the limbs are done, we can use the same bit of Python to select the joints so we can quickly hide the rotational axes again. That's the arms done. Might be quicker if I tear this off. Legs done too. Okay, that's the joints done. I'll just enable the nodes again before we move on. Evaluate all. There we go. As you can see, with them enabled again, the joints are locked. And the IK works again. It's a handy little tool for quickly checking areas of your rig without having to delete or manually disable any of your work. Let's look at the controls next. Just open the outliner. We want to find all the main controls. Here they are. With my rigs, I like to keep the controls and the base skeletons separate, rather than having controls hidden inside the skeletal structure. Not only does this make the rig cleaner, but it also makes it much easier to bake animation onto the joints and then export them. Start by selecting all the left side controls, or in this case, their offset groups. Press Ctrl and G to group them. Just make sure when you group them that the pivot is at the world root, or in the middle of your character. Let's rename this to left for now, and press Ctrl and D to duplicate it. Rename the copy to right. We have all the duplicates here, but before we move on, let's quickly rename them all. With the right group selected, go to Select Hierarchy to select everything beneath it. Now go to Modify, Search and Replace Names. All we want to do is replace L underscore with R underscore. Click Apply and that's done. Now we need to flip these to the opposite side. Select the right group and set Scale X to -1. That's now changed these into right side controls. The problem is we have this minus value here, so we need to remove that to keep the rig and the controls clean. I could go in and just use freeze transforms on just the scale attributes. If I do that on the parent group though, you will end up with the orientations changing for all the children. We need to remove these from the group first. If we do, however, the controls move, so this isn't ideal. This is because some of the group's attributes are locked, like here. So when their parent changes, they are unable to stay in a relative position. So let's undo that. The issue we have is this hierarchy has some nodes which are locked, and others which aren't. The main way to unlock these is to go to Windows, General Editors, Channel Control. In here we can go in and choose which attributes are locked and hidden away. All we need to do is select them and move them over to the relevant side. Those are unlocked now. To speed things up, you can do it on multiple groups at once. You could also select the hierarchy and try to do it globally that way. As you can see though, this can be a little hit and miss. There is an easier and quicker way to unlock everything, and again, it involves a bit of scripting. I'll just select the hierarchy again and open the script editor. You will notice I have another bit of script here. This will go through the selection and unlock it all for us. This is the main command, cmd.ls. This will list something. Like all commands, you need to specify what it will be doing in the brackets after it. In this case, we are using these flags. SL equals 1 means check the selection. AP equals 1 will return full path names. For this it's not essential, but I find it useful to have proper names to work with. Finally, TR equals 1 will just return transforms, which is all we need. We don't want any shape nodes adding to the list. If I run that now, you will see a list of selected objects has been output in green. I just want to mention that your script editor may look different, and that's because I'm using a plugin called Charcoal Editor. It's an amazing integrated tool for scripting in Maya. I use it for all my scripts, so don't worry if things look a little different. You will see that before that command I have this name, cell list. This is a variable and the name can be anything you want, but this catches and keeps hold of all the names generated by the ls command. This then allows us to use this list later, like here below. This is a for loop. What it's doing is using the cell list we generated, but going through it one at a time. The cell part just refers to each node in cell list, so cell represents each item in the list. What this means is we can go through everything in the list and unlock it one at a time, but it happens instantly. Below is the code we are going to be running on each node, and these set attribute commands simply change the locked state. So we are using set attribute and then using cell, which is the name of the node, and adding .tx on the end, so it is affecting the translate x attribute. This is just repeated for all the other attributes we need to change. The flags we are using are k equals 1, which will make the attributes keyable again, so they will show up in the channel box, and l equals 0, which unlocks it. So before each command we have cmds, and what we need to do before we start using Python is run another little bit of code. Now you can't see it here because I've run it previously, so it's already loaded. But what you need to add in is import maya.cmds as cmds, and what this will do is basically import all the Maya commands so that you're able to use them as Python. And then all you need to do is use cmds dot and then the command. This will just allow you to use those Maya commands in a Python script. If I select and run that now, it will unlock everything I have selected. I can quickly check a few, but I know that they will be unlocked. Sorry about the detour and introducing some scripting elements. I do think that scripting is an essential part of rigging. So if you get the opportunity, I'd recommend learning even some basic Mel or Python. Even just some simple scripts like this can have a dramatic effect on your workflow. Now those are unlocked, I can move them out of the group and they maintain their current positions. They do still have a minus value on them, but they are different now depending on the group and where it is in the hierarchy. We can delete that right group now as we no longer need it. We can now freeze the scale transforms on all the controls, or the offset groups, and the orientations should stay the same. There we go, and the only change was the size of the locator, and that only happens because you can't freeze transforms on a locator. If you try and freeze them on a scale, it just resets it back to 1 rather than baking in the scale. We could just go in and rescale these though. We have maintained the orientations too. Elements like the labels for the IK and FK will need to be manually changed, but again, that's an easy fix. So that's the joints and the controls mirrored. Just move these out now and delete that group. The problem is this just mirrors the controls, not the base systems. As you can see, the arm control moves but does nothing. The same with the foot. So you will need to go in and wire things up again. You may also find that some of the controls orientations need updating too. So here the controls orientations match the joint. On the right it doesn't. You see, Y needs to point the other way. This can be easily rectified, and what I tend to do is go around all the right side controls and use the Match Transforms tool, just to quickly reorientate the controls to match the joints. Even the attributes don't work. So as I said at the beginning, there isn't a magic button which will do all the work for you, but some of these tips will help to speed up the process. Now, what I have done is written a little script which should help you out even further. All it does is takes everything we just did and automates it. Here it is. All we need to do is select the clavicle and then click Mirror Selected Joints, and then do the same with the thigh. Now, to mirror the controls, just select them and click Mirror Selected Controls. There you go. Nice and easy and a lot quicker. All the joints and controls mirrored in just a few clicks. You'll notice this extra section here. I originally added this so you could lock and unlock attributes as you were working, which the tool does automatically for you now. I just decided to leave it here so you have the option to use it on other things. If we select this offset group, you will see that the main transforms are locked and hidden away. I just need to specify which attributes I want to work on, so in this case all of them, and click Unlock. Those are now available. I could lock them again too. I can also uncheck them all and maybe just work on the translate and scale attributes. Lock them and unlock them. It's a simple tool, but having something like this has saved me tons of time. Now there is one other option for mirroring joints and controls, and that's to have a script or two written to do all the work for you. So here we have just a base skeleton, and I'm going to use a couple of scripts to quickly rig the limbs on both sides. I'll open the rig mirroring tool again, and I also want, where are you? I should make better icons for these. Not that one. There we go. Quick limb tool. So this one will build IK, FK and stretchy limbs automatically for you. Okay, so first we need to mirror the joints. Those are done, and the orientations are set up too. So we can do the flapping arms. Now all I need to do is select the shoulder, elbow and wrist. This is set up just as I needed, working on an arm, the left side, the axes are all correct too, and match how the arm is set up. I just click Go. And there we have a rigged, stretchy arm with IK and FK support. Let's do the other side now. So shoulder, elbow, wrist. Change this to right and click Go. That arm's done too. I'll do the same on the legs. Select the joints. Change limb type to leg and limb side to left. That's done. And finally, the right leg. Okay, that didn't take too long, and we have both sides rigged. This just needs the spine building, so maybe I need to investigate a script for that too. Maybe I should just write a full automatic rigging tool. What do you think? Maybe I should look into that. Perhaps start a Kickstarter or something. I'll need to find some way to fund it because creating an automatic rigging tool could be a huge job. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. The point I'm trying to make is that mirroring controls does take time. There are a few shortcuts, but the only way to truly avoid the time it takes to do it is to have some custom scripts you can use. If you're interested in downloading these scripts or any of my other scripts, they are available via my Ko-fi page. There's a link on the screen now and in the description below. So, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please make sure you hit that like button and let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know if you have any questions and tell me what future videos you would like to see. If you found this or any of my videos useful, you can treat me to a coffee as a way of saying thank you. Just head on over to my Ko-fi page. Remember to subscribe to this channel to stay up to date with future videos and posts. This is antCGi signing off, and I will see you on the next one.